Well, hello everyone. I'm Dan Heath. I'm the staff chaplain at Emmanuel. Been around for about 45 years in several different capacities. And today we're here with my friend Henry King. I've known Henry and his wife Carolyn now for at least 45 years. And Henry, it's a delight to have you here today and to get to talk with you. When I was first tasked with this video, the first person that came to my mind was you. And I appreciate that. You're someone I've always looked up to. Not just because you're a head taller than I am, but because I have such respect for you and your service here at Emmanuel. Tell us a little bit, Henry, about you and your bride, Carolyn. Did you grow up in Enid?
We moved here, my parents moved here in 1959 when I was in the ninth grade. And ever since then I went to Waller, Enid High, Phillips University, Marine Corps, and then we've lived here ever since. We've been at this church 45 years. I was saved 43 years ago and baptized here. My wife is Carolyn. She goes to 2 or 3 of the women's Bible studies around here. We've been married 56 years. We have 1 son and 2 grandchildren. So.
Well, Henry, one of the things that makes me look up to you is, as long as I've known you, which is about 45 years, I've just seen you as a servant and a behind-the-scenes guy that is there doing whatever needs to be done. And when I first got to know you, you were helping as an usher. I think you were working with a guy by the name of Bob Guthrie.
That's correct.
Who owned Pack-a-Sack at the time.
Right.
And then the Lord called Bob home, and you stepped right up. What is it that drives you in doing the servant ministry that you do?
We've been very blessed by the Lord over the years as far as health, and our son's been really great. And we just like helping people. The people here are friendly. The staff is easy to work for. I mean, this
Work with.
Yeah.
You don't work for us.
Right. And I just enjoy doing that stuff. Carolyn enjoys doing that stuff. I like to fix things. So that's part of the thing. If a neighbor makes a concern, then I try to fix it. So.
Well, Henry, I know you've been retired now for several years, but a lot of people are at the point in life that they're looking toward retirement. And you're a financial guy, and you understand that. What advice or counsel would you give to people who are, say, 10 years away from retirement, 5 years away from retirement, or just about to get into retirement?
Well, if you're 10 years out, it's kind of late to be planning that part now, but you should, if you get a 401k or retirement thing like that, you need to be sure and participate in that. And then when you get ready to retire, at least 2 years out, start planning your retirement, how you want to handle it, what you want to do with it. And when you turn 65, the people don't tell you this, but at 65 you have to sign up for Part A of your Medicare, because if you wait after that, they can penalize you for being late. But employers don't tell you that, and the government sure won't tell you that. So that, and then the year that you retire, I went from working from being at work before 7 o'clock in the morning and staying until 7 at night, worked in an office. The first year after retirement, I read 13 novels as an adjustment, because you're going from being there all day long to not do anything to do. And then after the first year, then you can calm down and adjust to the retirement thing.
So you wouldn't advise anyone to go home and sit on the couch?
No, do not go home and sit. Get a hobby or walk or exercise, read a book.
I found for us, exercise is vital, not just to my physical health, but to my mental health.
Oh, yes.
And so we continue to do that. My wife and I do that together. And it's a great help. That's all good counsel. And, when I was looking at retirement a number of years ago, what you said is exactly right. I had been putting money aside, but as far as Medicare and all that, I didn't really have a clue.
Mm-hmm.
And so I ended up going to some seminars
Mm-hmm.
that were not taught by anyone who had anything to sell, but were taught by people who just really understood the system.
Right.
And you have very accurately described what a person needs to do there, because if you don't get on Medicare at 65, you can get on it later, but you will pay more.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people think Medicare is free, but it's not, is it?
No, no.
So
Part A is free if you sign up at 65. Part B, there's a fee for that.
yes, we pay it every month.
And it's
And-
not cheap anymore.
And then there's Part C, which a lot of people I know don't recommend that.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's Part D, which is a prescription program.
Right.
And right now is the time, if you're going to make any changes, you've got until I think December 8th, maybe? Or
7th.
December 7th, Pearl Harbor Day,
Right.
to make a change in that plan. You get a chance every year to do that. And so if you have a counselor or advisor that is in that business, this would be a great time to make an appointment with them and find out if you're in the best plan for where you are.
They can go see your daughter because they can go walk them through it, tell them what they need to do, what they don't need to do, and all this kind of stuff. And they don't charge for that service.
Right. It's a very good thing, and you know, we're grateful because all through the time of employment, you know this well, insurance is the big picture.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not so much what you get paid as whether you have that benefit or not,
Right.
and whether you can afford that benefit if you're having to pay for it out of your pocket. And I used to say to our personnel committee, if we need to cut my salary, but leave my insurance in place,
Yeah.
because that's what we all live on, especially those of us who have had some major illness and you never know when that's going to happen.
Oh, no.
And to not have insurance is financial ruin.
Oh, yes.
So I'm grateful. We've been blessed
Mm-hmm.
to have that. So Henry, you know, you've retired from secular work. Hopefully you'll be here for a long time to lead out in our usher ministry. But as I look around, a lot of our generation are dying off, and they're not here. And we've got to be replaced, and by the younger generation. I'm so grateful for the younger generation that have stepped in the shoes that I used to fill, and for the way they do it. But what would you say to a young adult who would maybe feel a calling to be a part of ushering people? And by usher, we think of that as helping someone find a seat, but it's so much more than that. It's really looking over the safety of the congregation. You do that very, very well. I think you're part of our safety team, if I remember correctly. And anymore, who would have ever thought we needed that in church? But we certainly do. But what would you say to a younger person to encourage them to step up and be a part of that ministry?
Well, you cannot imagine how much joy and fulfillment you get out of volunteering and helping other people, helping the church, just being around, greeting people, making people feel at home. That's part of our calling, is to bring people to the Lord. And by this service, you're one of the key parts in helping people get to that deal. The pastor can't do everything. Dan can't do everything. Nicole can't, so we need to help them. And if you're a younger person and you want to help in any of these fields, let us know. We'd be more than glad to welcome you, show you the ropes, and you can take over.
Well, we don't even want to take over just yet, but we would like them to stand beside you and work along with you. I know, for 36 years I was on staff as the worship pastor, and so I wasn't really part of the greeting. I was back in the back until time for the service, and now that I've been retired for almost 9 years, every Sunday when I come in, I am greeted by some of your ushers, and one in particular, who's a friend of mine, always shakes his hand and smiles. And I said, "Well, how are you?" And I call him by name. He said, "Well, I'm better now that you're here."
Yeah.
And that just makes me feel really good.
Yeah.
And I think he says that to everybody. Yeah, I don't think it's just to me. So anyway, it's good. It's good. Well, Henry, I am again so grateful to get to talk to you. I've learned some things today that I didn't know about you, even though I've known you 45 years. But thank you again not just for your ministry here at Emmanuel, but for the servant's heart that we see. I see you so engaged. I never hear you complain, although I'm sure you have things to complain about. You just see what needs to be done and you do it. And for that, I want to thank you on behalf of all of our church.
Thank you. I want to thank you for all the years that you taught me, and I've loved listening to you sing.
You're gracious and kind. Thank you. Well, thank you for watching.